Road Rash II is the second release in the now defunct Road Rash series. It was developed and published by Electronic Arts in 1992 and is a Sega Genesis exclusive. I haven't played the first Road Rash title, so I won't be able to make any comparisons or talk about the evolution of the series. As you probably know, Road Rash 2 is a motorcycle racing game. You earn money by placing well in races, which can then be used for new bikes or to pay off police tickets and bike damage. What set this apart back in 1992 was the combat system. You can punch and kick your fellow opponents to gain an advantage. Every character, including you, has a life bar. As you land hits against the competition, their life bar depletes. If you manage to empty an opponent's life bar, they'll fall off their bike and crash. In addition to hand-to-hand combat, you can sometimes swipe a chain or a bat from an opponent for more efficient damage. The chain in particular seems to mow through opponents. Unfortunately, you lose the weapons between races. There are 5 environments to race in: Alaska, Hawaii, Tennessee, Arizona, and Vermont. They all look different enough with different vegetation and obstacles. You must finish in the top 3 to qualify, and after qualifying all 5 tracks, you move on to the next level. The tracks simply repeat with each level, but add a couple extra miles to the end of the course. This brings up the first flaw in Road Rash 2. It's on the repetitive side. The second and subsequent levels all get more and more challenging, so you must manage your money and buy new bikes to keep up with the competition. Like most Road Rash titles, the final level is nearly impossible, so don't expect to complete this one. The main source of the challenge is the speed of the bikes as you progress. Sometimes it feels they move a bit too fast for their own good, causing accidents. While the racing and combat controls are very good, things are lacking in the audio and visual department. First off, the frame rate is decidedly poor, chugging along at less than 30 frames per second. There's also a distinct lack of color on the screen, and it very much has that early Genesis feel to it. The audio is also mediocre. Electronic Arts never seemed to master the Genesis audio hardware, and Road Rash 2 is no exception. The music tracks attempt to recreate some generic rock, representing each of the 5 states, but the instruments sound bad, muffled, and tinny. Thankfully, the compositions aren't bad, so it isn't a total loss. Despite the technical shortcomings, I love this game. You really feel like you are tearing through the country roads of America. The way the camera moves up and down as you go over hills and come back, the oncoming traffic, the roadsides littered through the turns. Road Rash 2 does a really good job of capturing the freedom that comes with riding a motorcycle. I love that when you drive over a cow, it moves. I love that when you hit a moose, it also moves. I love that when you knock an opponent off their bike, you can then run over them. I love how much air you get when you go over a bump, and how a tree will stop your skidding after falling off your bike. There is a serious amount of charm here. Opponents will talk trash to you after a race, and there are little cutscenes after each race, either celebrating your victory and poking fun at your shortcomings. It's hard for me to tell if Road Rash 2 has stood the test of time. The frame rate might actually be a deal breaker for many. It's pretty bad. However, despite this, the game's controls are extremely sharp and much better than most line-scrolling racers of the period. The bottom line is, if you can get past the graphics and music, Road Rash 2 has a lot to offer. The combat of the Genesis originals is far better than later 3D releases. There is a reasonable password system, so you can continue where you left off later. Overall, Road Rash 2 is a seriously fun Genesis exclusive. Non-fans and racing fans alike should definitely check this out. I highly recommend it.